OK, Howard, so we'll move on to camera angles, De Ligt's role in this potential penalty as well in a moment, but let's go stage by stage. Harry Maguire, that's what the referee gave the penalty against. Should we clear that situation up first? Was there enough there to give a penalty in the first instance?
Yeah, it's important to start there, Michael, because as you've rightly said, and as we heard on the audio, the referee clearly penalised Maguire in this situation. He believed that Maguire pulled Young with his left hand. He describes that as well. So the VAR knows that, and that's going to be the starting point of the check. The referee's call in this situation was a penalty to Everton for a foul by Maguire. When the VAR looks at that, he sees that Maguire hasn't done what the referee perceives him to have done in real time. He sees a touch, but not a pull by Maguire, not a hold by Maguire. There's no lower body contact either. Young steps over Maguire's leg and then spreads his legs and goes to the ground forward. So it's not a foul by Maguire. The award of the penalty against Maguire is clearly and obviously wrong in our opinion, and also in the opinion of the VAR.
OK, let's have a look at a few different angles of this penalty then, or the potential penalty. What I was most disappointed about was the angles that the VAR gave to the referee when he went to the screen. I felt that he gave this angle far too much and didn't spin around and have a look at some of the other angles. So I think it's quite difficult to spot there. But of course, it's the De Ligt tug of the shirt that I think was the biggest question mark here. What did you think in terms of when he went to the monitor and got given multiple angles of this and wasn't really given the money shot?
Yeah. Well, when they're checking the sequence, the VAR and the AVAR, you'll see them looking at this sort of like wide angle really to get a view on Maguire, and that's reasonable. That's showing a good sort of like view of what Maguire does. You'll hear the AVAR talk about De Ligt and asking a question: does De Ligt commit an offence or not? So they're aware of De Ligt having potentially done something. They form the opinion that Maguire's not committing an offence, but then they go on to ask the referee at the screen to consider the actions of De Ligt. But I absolutely acknowledge and accept that the angles that are presented to the referee at that point don't show in clear enough view what De Ligt does. Not penalise on the field, of course, but they want to show it him, but they need to show him some of these angles earlier when he gets to the screen instead of staying on the wide angle, which doesn't really show as clearly as needs to be shown De Ligt's actions. I'm not saying De Ligt's actions are a foul, but they need to show this angle to be able to make that determination at the screen. And of course, these angles were shown on broadcast, so the world is seeing these, and I guess that's where some of the criticism came from in terms of how this process played out. OK, and the De Ligt shirt pull, do you think that was enough to give a pen in isolation? Well, we've spoken pre-season, during the season, many times on this show about not all contacts are a foul contact. Just because you have a small tug doesn't necessarily mean it's something you're going to penalise. We're trying to look for impact of that action, and the way that Young falls forward, he spreads his legs, he kind of like throws himself forward somewhat, in my opinion, isn't commensurate with the amount of hold that you see from De Ligt. So we don't think this meets the threshold of a penalty in its own right, and that was certainly the view of the referee when he went to the screen, and was shown momentarily the view from the angle behind the goal. But I accept that we should have shown it in not only that angle, but this angle that we can see here as well, so that he's able to make that full evaluation. And people at home watching this can see that he's had full view of everything. Comes to the decision, I'm pretty certain he would have come to the same decision anyway, but at least people would know that he's seen the full information. OK, let's get to Bruno Fernandes, shall we? We spoke at length about him last week, I do recall, and him off the ball. Yeah. What about him on the ball? Did he show his importance once again?
Yeah, I think we've said it for many seasons, that the quality of Bruno Fernandes you cannot question, because he's got the ability to just do something like that. I know we're going to talk about the wall and things, but just the fact that he's seen that and his execution is unreal, and he's capable of doing it when Manchester United need a player to step up. That's what he can do, and his quality, whether that's assisting, his vision, his awareness, or whether that's scoring an outstanding goal. And again, that's something that we've probably said for Manchester United for a few seasons now, where even when they're not at the best, they are capable of moments of brilliance, and he's certainly a player that's capable of doing that. Yeah.
It's 3 unbeaten in the league for Manchester United as they held Arsenal at Old Trafford, and Ruben Amorim has suggested he is prioritising results ahead of his footballing principles right now.
The plan was perfect. What I mean is that we have to have more possession of the ball, more control of the ball, to press a little bit high. We press sometimes, especially in the goal kicks, on the free kicks near the Raya's goals. We press quite well. But in the future, I want to play a different football, to spend more time attacking with the ball in the last third than defending in the low block. That's all. The rest, I think, is an example, and the people appreciate the effort of the players.
So much better Manchester United performance, particularly in the second half, Sue. So Amorim, is he right to prioritise results, maybe over style? Do the ends justify the means?
Well, I think that was something that he got a little bit of criticism for, where, you know, we were saying, well, he's come in mid-season, he's got his way of playing, he's got his style, he's got his formation, but he didn't really have the players to fit that style and fit that formation. And obviously the results weren't coming, and we were saying, well, does he need to maybe adapt with the players that he's got to just pick up points at the moment? And it's obviously not, that isn't for the future. He's clearly said that. So he's obviously looked at Arsenal and looked at the previous games and said, well, when we do sit back and we are compact and we are tight, then it'll be difficult for Arsenal to break us down and score the goals that maybe they need. So I thought in the first half, they were poor in the first half. Arsenal had a lot of the ball, and there wasn't really much to cheer about from a Manchester United perspective. They didn't look like scoring. I thought they were a bit sloppy in possession. But then they had that moment of brilliance, obviously Garnacho winning the free kick, and then Bruno Fernandes putting it away, which was, you know, was superb from him. Second half, yes, they were so much better. I thought the shape was better. At times, they even looked like, I don't know if you were obviously at the game, it looked like they were in like a 5-4-1 system, you know, sitting back saying, right, come and break us down. And in the end, they could have gone on and won the game in the second half. So I think that'll certainly please Amorim, how he changed things second half so much better and could have gone on and won the game. So yes, sometimes it is just about being adaptable, isn't it, to pick up points, especially when you're in that position. But it's like he's almost coming out and apologising for that. He's saying, this isn't the way that I want to play, but at the moment it's the way that I'm going to have to play to pick up points.
Yeah. What is it about United that perhaps more efficient in a game like yesterday's, when they can sit deep, hit on the counter? What is it about? Is it their mindset? Or is it their abilities? What is it?
Well, in the first half, Sue's just sort of touched on it there, where you've got your two wing-backs effectively dropped into a back five shape, but then your two number 10s are right on top of your two wing-backs, and they're really deep, as deep as they can be, because they're trying to track the opposite full-backs. What you're desperately trying to achieve within that system is you've got Zirkzee through the middle, who will press either Gabriel or Saliba, and then you want your two wider players then, as in Garnacho and Eriksen, who were playing in those number 10s, to press as high as they can as well. So if you win that ball higher up, there's less distance to goal. In the first half, Manchester United were travelling 60, 70 yards, and the crowd were getting frustrated because the players haven't got the energy to carry that on. You can't run 60, 70 yards every single time and try and counter-attack. It's too difficult when you're trying to do that. Plus, you're tired in your legs trying to move from side to side and sort of jockeying players. They were very passive in the first half. Second half, the two number 10s got higher. They pressed Arsenal higher up the pitch. They split a little bit differently. So Eriksen and Garnacho went and pressed Saliba and Gabriel, and then Zirkzee sat a little bit deeper on the holding midfielder, and that just allowed the two wing-backs then to push higher up the pitch, and they got more joy going forward. There's no coincidence, when you play your team higher up the pitch, you will get more joy going forward because there's less distance to travel. We saw it in the second half. United created three decent opportunities. I was asked after the game yesterday in commentary, was a draw a fair result? And I thought, yeah, on reflection, it probably was. Looking back on it now, and I see the chances created, United should have won. I mean, credible saves from David Raya. He made two outstanding saves in one attack, and then the save he makes at his feet from his feet as well is quite brilliant. So you actually think they weren't brilliant, United, but they created chances to win that game. Arsenal didn't. Arsenal dominated possession without actually creating anything of real note apart from the Declan Rice one, and that's a magnificent strike as well. So when you look at the reflection of the game, United probably should have won.
PGMOL chief Howard Webb says VAR was right to overturn Everton's penalty against Manchester United, but says the referee should have been shown another angle of Matthijs de Ligt's pull on Ashley Young. 3 minutes into added time of Everton's 2-2 draw with Manchester United last month, Young fell theatrically in the United box under pressure from both de Ligt and Harry Maguire. Referee Andy Madley pointed to the spot, but VAR Matt Donoghue sent him to the pitch-side monitor to review his decision. It appeared de Ligt had pulled Young's shirt as he tried to latch onto a loose ball, instigating the fall. Maguire then put his hand on Young. The referee clearly penalised Maguire in this situation. He believed Maguire pulled Young with his left hand, and he describes that. The VAR knows that, and it will be the starting point of the check. When the VAR looks at it, Maguire doesn't do what the referee perceives him to have done in real time. He sees a touch, but not a pull by Maguire. There's no lower body contact either. Young steps over Maguire's leg and then spreads his leg and goes to the ground. It's not a foul by Maguire. The award of a penalty is clearly and obviously wrong in our opinion and that of the VAR. You hear the VAR ask about de Ligt and if he commits an offence or not. They're aware of him having potentially done something. They ask the referee at the screen to consider the actions of de Ligt, but I absolutely accept that the angles that are present to the referee at that point don't show a clear enough view of what de Ligt does. They need to show him the angles earlier at the screen. I'm not saying de Ligt's actions are a foul, but they need to show another angle to make a determination at the screen. Some of these angles were shown on broadcast, and I guess that's where some of the criticism came from about how this process played out. We've spoken about how not all contacts are a foul contact. Just because you have a small tug doesn't mean it's something you penalise. We're trying to look for impact from that action, and the way Young falls forward, he spreads his legs, in my opinion, doesn't correlate to the amount of contact you see from de Ligt. We don't think this meets the threshold of a penalty in its own right. That was the view of the referee at the screen and was momentarily shown the angle from behind the goal. I'm pretty sure he would have come to the same decision anyway, but people can see he's seen the full information.